Hello, Joe and Al. I've been listening to your show for quite some time, more than 2 years. Wow.
We've been on there for 15, 16, but that's good. That's better than one.
That's better than a couple episodes.
Right.
I appreciate you both very much for bringing all this great information. I'm worried that I don't save enough for retirement. Warning, it is long. All right. Thanks for the warning.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We'll bust this out. I'm 40 years old, married with 2 kids, 7 and 15. My income is 120. My spouse is 100. I started my career late in my 30s. My goal is to have enough money in my 529 plan and retirement fund. Right now, I currently have a Roth 401k of $30,000, a traditional 401k of $80,000, a Roth 457 plan of $16,000, and a traditional 457 plan of $51,000. I put $17,000 to both Roth 401k and Roth 457 at this 2022. And planning to do it until retirement at age 60.
Actually, that's 1,700.
1708.
Yep.
1,708.
Yeah,
Right.
not 17,000.
Sorry.
It would make a difference in the plan.
It would. Although that's a key assumption.
Right.
And it was very specific. $1,708.
Yes.
It's not $7. It rounds to 8. So we're going with that.
Oh boy. Okay. I can retire at 57 per contract. Pension plan, 10% dedicated from my check and matching 20% from my employer. So I put in $1,200. My employer puts in $2,200. My spouse also has a pension plan similar to me. We will have $89,000 annually when I retire until he died. Did he die?
No, when he dies.
Until he died. Okay. So
This dies.
dies. Okay.
Yep.
I will have a fluctuate 3% annual income adjustment during my retirement, around $100,000 annual until I die. We have 529 plans for our kids. So they got about $30,000, putting in about $500 a month into those. I'm still undecided if I should increase the contribution to our 529 plans, the leftover money to buy ETFs or ibonds, or put it in an UTMA account. My spouse put into his 401k $1,000 a month and $500 into the Roth. His current combined 457 401k is 100. He's 46 years old, and he will work for his job for another 19 years. He could retire at 50 years per his contract. He wants to retire at that age. I want him to work until 60. Well, of course you do. He might get his way. We just started to invest in our 401k and 457 5 years ago when I started my career as a nurse. I'm not sure, should I roll this 401a because I will not earn the vested money if I roll over my contributed portion into 401k with the new employer? Okay, I'm not sure what that means. My brokerage account is $135,000. We plan to create a brokerage account for my husband to start investing as well. My emergency fund is $70,000. We both have life insurance and estate planning. My mortgage is $2,700, and rental property paid by itself to the lender at $2,000 bucks a month. For me, I just refinanced last year for both properties for 15 years at 1.75%. Okay. We don't expect to get any inherited fund. We both let our parents know to help our siblings instead of giving us money. All right. I told my husband that we are still behind in our finances, especially for college funding, and he needs to work until he's 60. He will be too young to retire at 50. Do we have enough retirement fund if he retired at 50 and I still work until I'm 60? What should I do with these 529 plans? My 15-year-old is getting close to college or university. He wants to go to UC. I know it's expensive. I spent school years working in my 1.5 years after graduation to pay off student loan debt, and I don't want this to happen to him. It is very stressful. I really appreciate your response. Have a successful day. Okay, with all of that, Al, what do we got going on? We got some money and we got pensions, and the husband wants to retire at 50, and she wants him to work until 60.
Yeah. So roughly, she's got a couple $100,000 in retirement accounts. So does he. They've got 35,000 in 529 plans. It looks like they've got, call it 150 in a brokerage account. Something like that.
Okay. And the mortgage, or they're going to receive $89,000 in pension payments.
Right.
What are we missing?
Spending.
Exactly. So we just spent 8 minutes going through.
Now, if you're spending 89,000, then you're good.
You're good. He can retire at 50.
If you're spending 189, then you got some work to do.
You got some work to do.
Because 4% rule, if you need an extra $100,000, you better have 4 million. Is that the right number?
Yeah.
4 times 4? No, that's 160. So you need about 2.5 million, I think, is the number to get 100,000 of spendable money.
Yeah, it's about 1.7.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just go through this. So all of you can do this at home.
Yep.
All right. First things first is, all right, so they're 45 years old. He wants to retire at 50. She's going to work until 60. So the first step is, okay, you figured out what you have. So that's a good point.
Right.
You have roughly $400,000 that is saved in your Roth and your 457s and your 401ks and IRAs and so on. So that's what you have that's going to produce income down the road that's going to supplement Social Security and your pension payments. So here's your liquid assets. Second step is, what are you spending? Are you spending 100,000? Are you spending 50,000? Right? And then let's say you're spending $50,000. Well, then you have to inflate that. So you're going to inflate that to his age 50 or his age 60, depending on when you want to retire. So use a conservative inflation rate of, 3 or 4%, something like that.
Sure.
So you're looking at future dollars, not today dollars. And then you look at what you have for fixed income. So you have pensions of 89,000. You might have Social Security. I'm not sure if you put in Social Security, but you also have, it sounds like they're putting into the pension and Social Security. So you're going to have a pretty good sized fixed income from your pension and Social Security, but you got to figure out what that number is. So looking at that number compared to what you want to spend, what is your shortfall? So if you're short $50,000 or if you're short $150,000, those are two huge differences that you'll have to do some math to figure out what your nest egg should be.
Right. A couple more quick things. One is when you start receiving the pensions, if you retire at 50 and the pensions start at 62, then you got a bit of a problem. Secondly, I think in many cases, it behooves both husband and wife to work while the kids go through college because that's expensive.
Yeah, you can cash flow it then.
You can cash flow it.
So if your 529 plan is not enough to cover the UC tuition, all right, well, then you can still cash flow it with your incomes that your 520, but you might stop saving for retirement, but that's okay because you have pensions and Social Security that's going to compensate for the lack of savings that you're doing to bridge the gap for education. So you need to map some stuff out here, really to help understand. But I think you're on the right track. I mean, you're not 60 looking to retire in 5 years and putting a couple kids through school and only have a few $100,000. I mean, you have a great pension. You've done a good job of saving thus far. You started late, no big deal. Now it's just really button this stuff up to figure out exactly, what are the next steps. So,
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.